All right, it's been a while, took a little break. And I'm still working on these back closeout panels. Kind of want to just get them done. And what I did is I riveted this with all of these, except for this spot, and this spot. That will be screwed in like that side, this and here. So that'll make that panel removable, even though there's really nothing serviceable behind there. But I don't know, I guess I like the idea of it being removable, and that seemed to make a lot of sense. And yeah, so that involves having to rip all the tweed off that I did a long time ago. I'm gonna retweed it now. I got them both done. So basically you have 1 screw, 2 screw, 3 screws, everything else is riveted underneath. Got all these screws done inside here. And I also, let's see if I can pull it out. Finalized this guy, put all the screws in there. Then I put little spacers underneath here. I stamped them out. Those are 5/8 inch spacers with, I don't know, 3/16 or something like that holes. This one here is a 1/4 inch, just because there's a little more meat there. And the idea behind it is that I want to be able to tighten these screws without putting unnecessary tension on this. So I still have this lip protruding, so that lip sits tight up against the floor. But if you screw this down, then it doesn't buckle in, like it sits nice and straight going all the way around. I don't know if I showed this already, but I also added these little spacers onto the station 4 here. Took this guy out, and now I'm working on, I've talked about this before, I want to make this whole floor hingeable. So I got a hinge, and I put these little plates on it. There's 4 of them, and the idea is that basically it just tucks in underneath that floor, and when you put these 4 screws in, I mean, it's not going to go anywhere. Right now I don't have it tight, but, and then the front plate will sit on that and come up to here. And if you need to take it out, you just take these 4 screws out and you can just pull it out underneath. So wish me luck. Yeah, I took a few days off, had daughter's graduation to deal with, and back on it now. So I got those in, like I said, these are 16th inch or 8th inch spacers actually underneath these 4, and then these are 1/4 inch because of the way I cut it. That seems to work out just perfect. Like there's very little buckling or pulling in when you tighten the screws. So got everything in, got my hinge in, and now I'm working on, I got this plastic release. Probably gonna put like a little L, aluminum L channel here, and got some 40,000s flooring. I'm going to copy that minus the cutoff part onto that and see if it fits. Alright, I put in one of the RANS braces going across here, bolted in. The piece that goes here is going to bolt in over that. I did have to trim out around the fuel tank. Then these are the tabs I was talking about. So these 4 tabs basically just slide underneath here and lock into those 4 screws. Right now I'm drilling, I cut this is 40,000s, and I'm probably going to round the corners. I made this 16 inches. It's a little bit shy, it comes to right here, but the thought is that the shorter I make it, the less you have to pull the seat forward to get it up. I think I accidentally ordered a stainless steel hinge. I wanted an aluminum one, so it's kind of a bugger to drill. Burning up my bits. That worked out quite well. Got those click out in there. This is just a little Amazon hatch release thing that fits in there. Right now this just happens to be the right size with this RANS piece here. But I think once we put the material on it, if I need to shave it a little bit underneath here, better too big than too small. But yeah, really happy with that. Now I'm in the process of making a little structure that goes underneath. I'm using 1/16 3/4 by 3/4, and hopefully I'll be able to get that in front of the latch to give me structural rigidity, you know, so it doesn't flap like a V coming up. So I'm cutting that piece. You can see here, I did a couple experiments. I didn't feel like doing the math, so I just cut some pieces, but this angle seems to be pretty good. So let's hope it works. All right, that eyeball math worked out pretty good. I just double-sided taped this on and fit it inside the plane. And it actually feels awesome. On the side here, I left an 1/8 of an inch gap, but on the front, it's pretty much right on. And the reason being, because that little latch, like this has to be cut out around it, but I wanted to keep that rigidity there. And I love this little guy. I picked that up at Sun and Fun. This is just a small one, but it's perfect for this. All right, so I trimmed this piece here. I screwed on a piece of wood and I cut a little bit out of the front, basically 1/16. This ring around it is an 1/8 of an inch thick, so that's plenty. Latch is good, and then also made provisions for where that support goes through. All right, a couple of other attention to detail. So I put the stringers that they want you to put on the bottom of that, stringers or the supports, I cut them out. I put one there, one on this side, and contoured them so they look nice. This one was here, that's cut out around the fuel tank. That's cut out around the fuel tank there. And this spacer, this is basically just plastic, 1/8 inch. And the idea is that as the material, we're gonna do the same tweed, comes up and over, it'll wrap inside here. I'm just gonna glue this to this and then round this edge. But when the lid closes, it'll be like in a recessed area rather than sitting on top. So I think it'll look a little more finished. Doesn't weigh much, but I think it's a nice touch. And obviously I have the rounded corners there, so it just kind of sits in there. All right, another late night. Good night. All right, as I'm assembling this for, I don't know, semi-final test fit, because I have the hinge in here, I have this brace, I have the factory stuff. This was getting kind of high, and we put this in with the original holes. So we probably added, I don't know, 60 thousandths here and 40 thousandths or whatever. So what I did is I basically, oh, there we go. And this worked pretty good. I took a piece of metal and I'm hammering it into this corner to make this corner more square, which is fine because it goes from a big radius down here to a really tight radius anyway. So if I go down here, it's just gonna match that. I just put a little piece of cloth over it, and that takes the tension out of it. It was kind of like one of these, how can I fix this ideas, but it worked pretty good. You can see the metal. So now it's more square, but it takes the buckling out of the center piece. So that worked good. Carry on. And on to the next issue. And that was these guys here. I put these beautiful supports and I'm gonna rivet them down, except I left an 1/8 inch tolerance from here to the edge of this. And somewhere along the way, when I put these in, I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to have the rounded edge showing. And it moved everything out to the point where this wouldn't close. So I was like, oh crap. So anyway, I only had them double-sided taped on, so I moved them in enough to do that. And right now I'm doing final fitting of my little trim piece that goes around there. I just wrap some sandpaper around a paint can, which is the radius that I used for this anyway, and doing final fit. And then I will glue this to this, rivet these, drill some more holes back here, and I think we'll be ready to wrap them. Alright, so I got my spacer glued on, and I don't know if you can tell, but it has a nice round edge, a comfortable feel to it. Center console will somehow come into that. The blue line shows where the top sits, and nothing's bolted in right now, but basically that's that. And I don't know, if you're building stuff and you don't have one of these, this thing's coming in super useful, so I'm happy. I was hemming and hawing about buying one. The big one's like $50, the little one's $30 or $25. But it's Sun and Fun. I saw it at one of the vendors and I grabbed it. And when you're deviating from the manual building stuff like this, I don't know, it's just kind of cool. Probably find a million uses for it. Like my flush riveter that I was reluctant to buy. And speaking of flush riveting, I think I have this thing ready to go. I am going to use the solid flush rivets wherever I can reach it with my flush rivet pincher, and then I have these pop rivets that are also flush. I'll probably use those in here. And time to countersink, deburr, rivet, the monotonous part, but it's got to be done. I may have mentioned before that deburring is the worst part of the job. 81 holes along here, all countersunk, deburred. Then all these holes deburred both sides. All of these holes deburred both sides, and so on and so forth. Now we're gonna rivet. Always a curveball. I was smart enough to measure to make sure that the throat of my crimper riveter fits in here, except it doesn't go over. Like it doesn't, like basically I had to take all these rivets off and then slide it in from this side because I want to rivet from the inside, from the center going outward. But yep, always something. There you have it. There's the finished product. Sans the covering. Got all these rivets in, and I used the pull rivets in the middle. I did use 40s just because I had them. Hopefully it'll be strong enough. If not, will be it. I made a new one of these, like I said, that's coming down to here, and I got one of those nicer looking bolts that just go drills into the side, similar to this. So that's why I didn't put the little strut on it, but this fits really good. I'm gonna cover these. This fits pretty tight, so I don't actually want to put the Alcantara to come down over here. So I'm gonna glue it to the bottom of this, rivet this on, and then wrap the rest of it, but that'll be a project for tomorrow. Actually, I'm going flying tomorrow. We'll see what time I get back, how much energy I got.